gosh, he actually decided to move instead of using Eclipse. I hate you so much. Okay, so we're kind of back here, and this guy's here. Say hi, Druid. I kind of baited him down a little bit by accident.
Hello, Druid. Do you miss geese? Well, no, actually, you didn't miss geese. That was the problem.
He did not miss
Wait,
geese.
no, he only dealt 31 to geese, so it was because geese had 3 damage dealt on him.
It's because
so geese can successfully bait the druid, and then you can just kill with someone else.
Yeah, I think the hand axe has 45 hit on the druid. So run Merlinus away for a sec. Let's get the real units up here to help. So
the real units like Chad?
Yes.
I just want to tell you, if you had done the Super Chad strat that I always recommend, if you've done the Super Chad strat, you want to know what Chad's averages are at level 20?
I would love to know what those are, actually.
So, for those who, for some reason, didn't watch Chapter 5, Super Chad is, if you put Chad in the mountains, the hand axes have 0% hit on him. Iron axes have 1 hit on him, but the hand axes have 0, so if you make sure he only is getting attacked by hand axes, it's 100% safe to grind him up to 20. What you do is you just put a macro on your keyboard and go get lunch. And then you come back and he's level 20. Like, that's the Super Chad strat. And it makes him the most mediocre unit. But he's a mediocre unit who can do stuff. I had it written down because I was talking to Akira about it earlier. Okay, yeah, it's at level 20, Chad's averages are 32 HP, 12 strength, 12 skill, 20 speed, 15 luck, 6 defense, 2 resistance. And that's pretty close to fear. That's pretty close to the fear we currently have. And you got her in Chapter 9. That would be a Chapter 5 unit. So, like, this is not my way of saying that, like, Chad is some sort of great superstar unit.
You heard it here first.
I don't even think that the Super Chad strategy is, like, meta. But it is something that, like, I always do in Iron Man's. I always do it in Iron Man's because what I do is I just set the, like, I set up the macro and I go, like, to the post office or whatever, and then when I come back, he's level 20, and now I have a unit who can, like, do stuff in Chapter 7.
Okay,
and, like, his sword rank is still only E, so he can only use iron swords, but, like, you know, those are better combat stats than Marcus. And, like, Marcus with an iron sword is not the most impressive thing in the world, but it's more impressive than, like, Elen and Lance, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should do this in any sort of, like...
Because that sounds so boring.
Efficiency, whatever the fuck it is. Oh, yeah, no, if you are playing on, like, original hardware, don't fucking do it. Like, literally, I would not even recommend doing it with speed up. I recommend doing it with macros. Like, keyboard macros, so that you can do it while you're not at the computer. I guess you could theoretically, like, watch something on, like, Netflix or Hulu or whatever, if you have 2 monitors, and just, like, do it repeatedly in the other screen, but I think it makes more sense just to, you know, macro it. Also, I know you said, "Are you kidding me?" to Wolt missing, but, like, Wolt dodged, too, so, like...
He did dodge.
He can attack on enemy, or he can attack on player phase, too.
Yeah.
And, like, get another try.
Okay, we'll go for Killer X crit first because it'd be very silly to kill a druid with the geese. If that doesn't work, I'll rapier first. Assuming he heals, that puts him down to 20. Mm-hmm. And then we can finish... No, we can't. We could longbow chip?
Do you have killing edge? You don't have any killing swords, do you?
No killing edges.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, just using crit weapons. You don't have any killer lances, do you?
No.
Oh, he dodged?
Yeah?
He do be dodging.
That's...
Oh, you could surround him with people he doesn't kill.
Same brain cell. We just thought of that. We just do like this.
And then put Wolt where he is too, because Wolt could... So, like, whoever he goes for... Wait, was he getting doubled?
If he had the longbow equipped, he was.
Oh, the longbow's so heavy. I forgot.
I want to run forward a little bit just so I can peek ahead. This is a very silly way to get rid of this guy, and I definitely approve of it.
Wait, what is a silly what? Oh, that's
This.
surrounding the druid. I thought you meant something to do with, like, peeking ahead.
No.
I was like, what are you looking for? They're stationary. We established this earlier. Okay, go for the crit. Go for the crit.
Oh,
No, I think it makes more sense to silver bow him.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks, but... yeah, no.
No, we just go for silver.
Yeah. Miss Walt, Miss Walt.
I was clenching the controller so hard, you have no idea.
No, but my hope was that Walt would miss so that Geese would have a chance and kill him with the killer axe. I was rooting for you, because that's better content.
It is better content. You are right. Okay, so you guys don't move. But I know there he is. Which means we can put you... And that Luna guy is one of the only really scary enemies on the map.
Is the archer gonna kill Chad?
Oh, it's a store that's in range.
Oh, that's a sofa. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if you'd done Super Chat, I wouldn't have to be worried about that, because we wouldn't have to tell the difference. They'd be functionally the same.
I'm gonna have to get a Super Chad counter on the screen for how much Super Chad propaganda there is.
Look, Super Chat is not a good strategy in any, but it is like, okay, good. Good is like a relative term, right? Like, because like, is it good? Is it good? Well, it depends. Do you care about turn count? If you don't, like, I don't know. Does it all, like, the other question is, does that count as infinite grinding? I would say it does, like, right? I would say that counts as infinite grinding to the same degree that, like, going to Tower of Valmy does. And in that case, like, well, then we're discounting it, right?
I think it's also... The logic of reasoning is, does it work? Yes. Is it worth the time it would take to do it if you can't set up a keyboard macro? No.
No, absolutely not.
But it works.
And again, like, in terms of evaluating units, I would count that in the same vein as, like, the Tower of Valmy,
yes.
Right? Like, if you were making a tier list, like, obviously the criteria for tier list, will vary from list to list. But if you're making a list where you would disallow the Tower of Valmy, I think you also disallow Super Chat. In the same way that you would disallow, like, grinding Walt up until his iron bow breaks in Chapter 1.
FE11 Gordon strats.
So the thing about FE11 Gordon strats, though, right, is that, like, while you shouldn't, like, intentionally grind him up to max, with those first 3 bosses, I do think that one of the best ways to deal with them is through the cheese. To me, Gordon usually gets, like, 5 or 6 levels just from trying to kill that boss because it's the safest way to do so.
Definitely
In the same way that, like, I don't think anyone really penalizes Robin for the fact that water walking in the prologue is cheese. Because it is cheese. But it's also probably the easiest way to beat that map. Not the only one. Like, Frederick can do a lot of work with Crom as a backpack, and, you know, there's other strategies. But water walking with Robin is the easiest way to do it, and I don't think people penalize her for it because while it's not a quote-unquote natural way to beat the map, like, it's sort of the one that people naturally go to, right? It's for the reason that it's one of the easiest. You don't want to do that! The crit rate! Jacob!
No, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Well, but it does 13. She survives at full HP. She survives a crit.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Because she's yeah.
She has 41 HP total. And that would do 39. So yeah, I just gotta heal her up a
Okay,
little
but
bit.
you have an archer, and he's a stationary one-range locked enemy.
True.
Like...
Pew pew.
We were just talking about this with Gordon, or I was getting around to it, where, like...
I was suddenly scared that if I attacked him
Chapter
and I
1
didn't
boss
kill,
is
he would
so
move.
scary.
I was suddenly scared
true,
that he
I
might move if I
guess.
attacked him. What does this guy look like?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't, because I've chipped
don't
away
think
with,
he
like,
moves.
light brand Chad before.
That sounds like a really funny idea, and I like it.
I also think if he moved, he would have gone for Merlinus.
Definitely. How do you do against this guy? Ugh, that's...
Not good!
That is yucky.
Yeah, people don't want to get crit by him.
How do you do against him?
I mean, I hate to say it, but I think the strat is to FE1 strats.
Yep.
Like, have your archer kill the one ranger, rescue drop him out of the way.
We're gonna do that. It's not playing.
Which is my point with Gordon, is like, I think outside of like an LTC, like where you're rigging things, right? I think it's safe to assume he gets a few levels from that boss. Like, you don't intentionally grind him to 20. I think that is something that you don't, that you like count against him on the tier list. But I think killing that boss, the easiest, again, not the only, like you can Silverlance crit with Jagan, it's just not super safe. The safest and easy way to do it is to chip away with Gordon, and then Gordon having low hit means that he's naturally going to miss some amount. And like, I don't think you like intentionally wait for the boss to get healed, but like in my most recent playthrough of Shadow Dragon, right? Like, I was like, well, it was a draft, so my available units were Marcus, Gordon, and Doga and Marth. And I was like, well, I think the only way I killed this boss, it was a hard 3 draft, so it wasn't even like hard 5. But I was like looking at the numbers, and I'm like, the only way I kill this boss safely is with Gordon. And Gordon ended up getting to like level 9 just in that map, because he kept fucking missing the boss. And, like, that makes him worse, right? He's worse at a job that's important for him to do. But also, it means that it's not unreasonable to assume he gets a certain number of levels.
Yes.
And I maintain that. Like, I think it's the same logic with Robin. And, like, if you disagree, if you think that Gordon shouldn't be assumed, that's perfectly fine, because these are, like, subjective things.
Yes.
But then I would ask you, like, reconsider, do you think we should assume Robin doesn't get those levels then? Because I really do think that those are very parallel scenarios. And I think it's fine if you think we should assume Robin doesn't get those levels. It makes her a lot worse.
Can we hit the guy, please?
But I personally believe that those two instances are very similar to each other. And I'm not saying, like, get the boss down to 1 HP, wait for him to heal, and then grind Gordon to 20. Like, I don't think Gordon hits 20 unless you get incredibly unlucky. And you can do it if you think it's, like, fun, or, like, if you're doing an Iron Man and you're like, well, the cheese is gonna be good for my Iron Man, right? Because then you, like, make him a Cavalier in Chapter 4, and he's, like, a good combat unit.
Yeah.
Well, a good combat unit for Shadow Dragon standards, because holy shit, unit quality in that game.
It's definitely something.
Shadow Dragon is a game that has, like, a very fat S tier and a very fat F tier and very little in between. And also, most of the people in S and A are there on account of availability more than anything.
Yeah.
Like, I think Gordon, Doga, Cain and Abel are all, like, high-tier units.
Just because
But I think it's purely because they're in Chapter 1. Like, I think you generally, even if you're benching Doga and Gordon after the first few chapters, I still think they're at least A tier or B tier.
For helping you kill even just the first boss.
I mean, chapters 1 through 3 are the hardest maps in the game.
They're
bar
very
none.
difficult.
Partially because you get access to reclassing in the Forge in Chapter 4. And, like, that's when you get to go wild with... And Warp. You get Warp in Chapter 3,
yes,
but you
true.
can't really Warp skip that game. Or that map, I mean. And, like, you can't Warp skip Chapter 4. I mean, you can, but, like, you're probably not going to.
Nah.
But, like, I do think that, like, the first 3 maps are the hardest because you don't have access to Forges. And even if you're not doing Forged Wing Spear, like, just forging a Horse Slayer, a hammer, or whatever... even just forging an iron or steel weapon, like, is huge. It's not as good as effective weapons, like, not by a long shot, but it is something.
It is cheaper than forging, like, an effective weapon.
Yeah. I mean, in the hard 3 one I mentioned, and again, like, it's not the highest difficulty, but, like, a forged Iron Lance on, because it was a draft, I had some real shit units. Forged Iron Lance on Pegasus Knight, what's her name? The Gaiden unit.
Oh, Athena?
Athena, yeah, I made her into a Pegasus Knight, gave her a Forged Iron Lance, and she was, like, halfway decent with it.
Can we get a crit, please?
It would be really nice. I've been sort of yammering about Shadow Dragon because I don't really know what to say. Like, we're just...
what's in this
We're
chest?
just here.
Because I don't know if I want to send someone all the way over there to go get it.
It's actually really important.
Oh, what is it?
It's Dire Thunder.
Oh, okay, Chad, I have a.
It's Walt's PRF for when he. It's Walt's PRF for when he reclasses into a sage.
Oh well, Chad, I have a job for you.
That is the famous chest that contains a chest key.
I kind of want that, but they're buyable. I don't know if I want to walk someone all the way over the map to go get it.
What else are you doing right now?
Like,
just send a Stolfo in case there's a... actually, there's a level 13 Myrmidon, a level 13 Brigand, and a level 14 Brigand all around that chest.
Okay, assuming
I don't know if they move or not. Like, they might only move when people are in their range. It's not worth the risk, right? Like, not this late in the map.
Please do a crit. That's why I've been using the killer bow, because a crit would do more than a silver bow hit.
Oh yeah, no, I assumed as much. I mean, killer bow's just better anyway, because it's higher accuracy. And like, I think the accuracy is more important than the damage, because if you miss, he's healing up, and so you're dealing... Like, I think statistically you're dealing more damage per turn
than with the silver bow.
With the killer bow, because every miss, he heals a little.
Yes. Make sure I don't accidentally rescue drop the wrong person. Here, hold that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So assuming an enemy's like here or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2 for 1, 2 range. Okay, there's a couple of brigands over here, which Fear can just eat those, I guess, or something.
Or you could feed them to Chad and make the legendary Super Chad.
I could.
Did you know that if you get Chad to level 20, then in this map, the chest key chest will be replaced by a fell contract?
No way.
But in FE6, fell contracts don't make you assassins. They make you wyverns.
No.
You're right. There is no way, because it's not true, because I'm lying. Oh! Jacob! Roll the wheel!
Oh, shoot, you're right. That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, because if it's Wolt, what we do is we feed Wolt to the mercs. So before you send your thief over
That's
there...
That's a good idea.
Like, because we're not killing the boss in a different way. I'm sorry, we're not.
No. The only other way we're killing the boss is I'm promoting Fear, which would be such a good use of a hero crest.
Light Brand Roy?
I guess?
He doesn't have any support partners here, though. Well, other than Wolt.
Yeah, I'm trying to lead them next to each other, so that way they can get their support
reason
up.
I said... Yeah, the reason I was saying Light Brand Roy is because the fire support accuracy. But... Yeah. I guess without fire support, Astolfo is probably the best Light Brand user.
Let's see, who of these unlucky guys and girl are we losing out on?
No. Keep it the first way so that you keep Fear alive. Oh, hey, perfect! You can go get that chest key! Perfect, you can go get that chest key! You can just send Shadow over there to get the chest key.
That was very... Okay, of all people to lose, that's like the most okay. I was actually a little scared I was about to lose Fear. I like Fear.
I know you like Fear. I know you do. I think I've said the Fear stuff before, so we don't need to repeat it, but... I think Fear's fine. I think people overstate how good it is to have a second Rutger. One, because you usually don't need two people to do Rutger's job, and two, because Rutger's most important job happens between Chapters 4 and Chapters 8X. But let's look up...
Oh, right, we have to look up
Chad Fire Emblem. Let's see if they, let's see if the fandom wiki has Super Chad as the strategy listed.
Oh, that would make my day.
Oh, wait.
I guess if I didn't kill the boss, I could have used the poison vial.
This is so funny. Oh, this is so funny.
I'm going to bet they bring up his growth rates and say, "Oh, well, Chad has really
Chad's
good growth rates."
strength, skill, and speed growth rates stand out as the best of any unit in the game.
And who
I'm gonna press X to doubt, because even though I know that he is like surprisingly good of them, there's no way they're the best. Hold
on. I am pressing X to doubt. That is.
I need to double check this. Oifi, Chad has the best strength in the game. I'm just gonna compare him to Gonzalez.
Gonzo's probably a pretty good person to compare him to. I guess I kind of wouldn't be shocked, because I know the thieves do have high growth rates. The problem is you're trying to dig them out of these bad bases.
I'm gonna compare him to Gonzo first. Why is there two different? It doesn't matter.
It's because of the A route.
For the A route, B route, it's just the level, but it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Let's look at his growths. Yep, first one that came to mind, and Gonzalez has 10% more strength growth than Chad.
I guess maybe it means overall, like he has the best collection of strength.
Oh, like instead, well, but that's not even anything, because like you could say the highest growth total, and that at least means something.
Yeah.
Highest growth total of 3 specific stats means fucking nothing to me.
Unless you're saying it's strength, speed, and defense.
But that's not even the part of the sentence that made me upset.
Oh, critical.
Sadly, these do not make him a good combat unit, correct. Due to his inability to promote! This is like the Roy promoting early thing. Where, like, everyone says Roy's bad because he can't promote until near the end of the game. And it's like, no.
There's other things wrong.
Even if Roy could promote early, like... There's a reason that Roy is usually, like, level 10 or 11 by endgame. Like... If Roy was a good combat unit, he would hit 20, and it would suck that he can't promote.
Hey, mine's about to hit 20.
It wouldn't make him bad, though. Like, his promotion being late, I think out of all of the story promotions, ironically, Roy's is one of the least impactful. Like, I think Ike is a worse unit than Roy, but I think Ike is more impacted by his story promotion than Roy, because it means you can't just Vex him up to, an absurd level.
I think it's funny
until the story promotion,
because it's not the promotion that helps Roy. It's just that he gets a giant 1-2 range sword that does a bajillion damage versus Manicheets.
Yeah, no, he's good for 10 combats, 20 if he doesn't double.
That's really what's quote unquote good about him. Oh, I guess I still haven't fetched like the boss or anything.
All right, let me read some more Chads though.
We got one crit.
Chad is friends with Lugh, Ray, the Bishop Yoder, and the other orphans, and cares about them.
What?
There's nothing wrong with that sentence, except for the fact that structurally it makes it sound like the Bishop Yoder is one of the orphans. Because it says Chad is friends with Lugh, Ray, the Bishop Yoder, and the other orphans. And, like, this is the most pedantic low-blow grammar shit you'll ever hear. And, like, grammar is fake, and it doesn't matter if you have bad grammar, as long as what you're communicating, like, as long as the person you're talking to can understand what you're saying, I don't give a shit about your grammar. But this is structured in a way that if I didn't know, I wouldn't understand. And I would think that Yoder was one of the orphans. Because Bishop Yoder being right next to and the other orphans makes it sound like the Bishop Yoder and the other orphans. Like he's one of them. So this is like one of the only times I'll actually criticize bad grammar because it actively confuses the meaning. Like, I think for the most part, a lot of like, we need to maintain grammar the correct way is like really classist and actually it's rooted in racism. There's like a whole thing about like you're talking wrong. But in this instance, it is actually confusing to the meaning. Anyway, he fights to preserve peace around countries and for his, in quotation marks, family. I don't know why they had to put quotation marks around family. Oh. What?
Also, while you were looking...
Isn't the whole thing that he's, like, actually there with his brothers? I'm so confused. I don't care. In a support conversation with Kath, it is revealed that Chad is actually a good artist and he's the father of the orphanage. What?
What is it?
No, that can't be true! In a support conversation with Kath, it is revealed that Chad is actually a rather good artist, and he is the father of the orphanage.
What? That sounds like a... That doesn't sound right.
The conversation also seems to imply that Chad desires to become an artist.
It's like, okay, sure, like that's kind of cool.
But he is an artist. Chad also describes much of his past to Hugh in their support conversation. In the conversation, Chad borrows 3,000 gold to buy a sword. He later repays 4,000 gold, explaining why he borrowed the money to Hugh. Chad says he bought the sword and used it to fight for his family, in quotation marks again. I don't know why they keep putting family in quotation marks.
I guess it's because...
Maybe it's because of the orphanage and they're implying that, like, that makes them not a real family, but, like, I don't know, it doesn't need to be in quotes.
Yeah, it's, like, it's still family.
Yeah, it is. Like, just because they're not... whatever. I have bigger fights to pick with the fandom wiki than the fact that they think blood family's the only real family.
There are bigger fish to fry.
Okay, we got to the skill strength speed. I already read that part. I don't want to do psychic damage again. Because of this, Chad is better off promoted... It's literally the previous sentence. You talked about his lack of promotion being the thing that makes him bad. And now, because of this, Chad is better off promoting earlier than usual. What the fuck?
He can't promote, so you should probably just promote him early and get it over with.
He's your only thief until Astolfo... He's your only thief until Astolfo joins in Chapter 16.
He does not join in Chapter 16. This is so wrong.
The latter is better at using a lockpick later on due to his better bases and durability. Chad can still be useful in maps which are made easier by having multiple thieves, such as Chapter 16. Which is not the map where you recruit Astolfo, but okay!
Yeah, that's just a potential map where you could get Kath.
The player should be wary when positioning him, as he can be killed easily by most enemies, especially on hard mode. Okay. I mean, that is true. That is actual good advice. I don't forgive you.
It's weird how they can make such bizarre remarks and then suddenly say something kind of correct.
I mean, okay, but counterpoint to that. Saying don't put your squish unit in range of enemies that can kill him isn't a high bar.
That is true.
Like, I know the fandom wiki is stupid. But like, there's some, like, I don't think we praise them for being like, hey, this unit is squishy, don't put him in the kill. Don't put him in the kill. Is Chad gonna die before Astolfo?
Yeah. So
That's because he's less durable.
I'm using the poison to kill him because I left him in one range of the boss, and the boss switched to the hand axe for a turn. So, which meant that...
Oh, yeah, GBAI loves doing that.
Which means my Volt Cheese would have not been good.
Yeah.
Luckily, I left him in range.
No, GBAI loves switching weapons. I know in Sacred Stones, the halberd guy, like, will sometimes just use the Iron Axe for no fucking reason.
He'll use the halberd, and then suddenly later he'll be like, nah, I feel like using the Iron Axe, I guess.
And like, that's how you get the droppable halberd, is you get him to change it. Even though the Iron Axe is, like, less effective, or not even less effective, it's just, like, worse because it's
just lower
the same, right? Or is it lower might? Yeah.
Yeah, it's lower might than the halberd, but it's also less hit. So I don't know if the AI suddenly says, today I feel like being accurate.
I know, in some ROM hacks, they'll have, like, a unit with 4 of the same weapon, and they'll just rotate through them. Like, usually it's, like, bolting or ballistas. Like, 4 Kings has, like, ballista boats, and the ballista boats will have 5 ballistas on them, and they'll just rotate through which ballista they're using, even though they're identical, because GBAI be like.
That's interesting.
I think it's very funny.
It's funny. How do you go against this guy again? You just freaking die. That's right.
Yeah, I really think the Walt cheese is the way to go.
Yeah. Thank
you. He remains your MVP.
Duh. I think Walt's gotten 2 or 3 level ups off of this guy alone. We're doing Gordon strats. Oh my gosh, he got strength.
I mean, but like I said, Gordon strats, like, I mean, I think in FE6, you usually have more people at this point capable of killing that guy.
Yeah, so it's not
like,
usually that big
you know,
of
a trained Lure Lilina is probably better at doing that than Walt.
Yeah. Because otherwise...
Just because they'll have more accuracy, right? Because they're using fire.
Because this is with fire support, and I was still facing 50-something hit on him, and I had an A fire support on him. So.
And then, like, Lugh and Lilina are both using the most accurate weapon in the game, and Lilina could potentially have a fire support as well.
Yeah.
And she's more likely to have one without support grinding.
Yeah, hers build's just
which
so
I don't know how much
faster.
you count that for. Like,
oh my gosh, poison wore off.
If you're assuming support grinding, then it doesn't mean anything. But like, if you're not assuming support grinding, then it does mean something. So I don't know how much you really count that for her, but
poison
it is something.
Stop doing minimum damage.
It is something unless it's not something, is the thing.
Oh no.
Why here? Well, because we demanded you stand there.
Yeah. Sadly.
Alright, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Sadly, it's only Sadly, it's one less thief, but I think we'll be fine.
I think that was the ideal solution. Like, Geese is obviously worse than
definitely.
Chad.
But like, we have 2 thieves in backup, and like what we can do is just now we can just not deploy Astolfo or Kath until it's a thief map.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm
and
thinking.
minimize the chances that we lose them.
I might field
at the very least, we might even not field them for the desert because we can use the desert item trick.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use the desert item
because you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose access to the Delphi shield.
Yeah, I definitely want 1 for 16 at least. And if I still have a thief around afterwards, I might do
stealable hero crest on Murdoch.
Oh, that'd be so funny to do. I might field one in like the Ilya fog map just to give me extra fog vision or something.
You know what you should do?
What should they do?
You should like and subscribe. But also you should teach Thief to Walt so you can warp him into the ballista room in Ilya in order to steal the what is it, an angelic robe or an Elysian whip from the ballistician?
It's an Elysian
whip,
and
then kill
Ilya.
The ballistician and then steal his ballista.
I do like that thief or that archer has. There's a guy you have to reach with warp in both routes, and in Ilya has an Elysian whip, and in Sake he has a Orion's bolt. I guess because they assume you're using more of each or something.
I mean, I like that, but I also think that in Ilya you're more likely to have trained Pegasuses and therefore already used the whips, and not need more.
So true. But the next map is a really fun map. So I'll see you guys all around.
Bye.